I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're diving into a bold and genre-defining work with an amazing author. His name is Van Eden, and he has penned a powerful book. It is called Peripety. This isn't your typical memoir. Peripety fuses screenplay, poetry, letters, and social critique to shake up the literary world. With fearless commentary on war, identity, and activism, this book is a thrilling call to rethink how stories are told in a rapidly evolving society. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on GBN. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Van, welcome to the Global Book Network. So good to have you on the show today.
It's an honor to be here.
The honor is all mine, sir. Let's start out for the folks at home explaining what the word peripety means and why you used it in the title.
Peripety is a Greek term of rhetoric that means reversal of fortune.
And is your story one of a reversal of fortune? I guess a lot of people's memoirs are in many ways, right?
Yes. I mean, good times are followed by bad times and so on.
Exactly. It's all a series of ups and downs. Life is a redemption story in many cases as well. You blend memoir, poetry, screenplay, cultural critique in your book. What inspired you to create this hybrid form?
Well, I had set up the Oklahoma Industrial Hemp Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And because hemp is a weed requiring very little water and hardly no labor. It's a substitute for oil, gas, plastic, and many other industrial products that are destroying our planet. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, how am I going to get this word out? Because the purpose of my foundation was to educate the public. And I decided that television would probably be the best way to start. Mm-hmm. So I began imagining a TV pilot. Mm-hmm. I had never written a television pilot. So I bought a couple of books and read up on how to write script. And then I started to imagine the story. And I worked on that. I wanted my protagonist to be a female. Then I was just pushing a little friend on a swing one day in the park, and a ray of sunshine hit her head. And for some reason, I thought, Little Orphan Annie. And then I began wondering, what Little Orphan Annie would look like as a young woman, maybe living in a near dystopian future, maybe going to graduate school, working on her degree in fashion design. So I began by writing that pilot. And as I was writing the query letter, it hit me that maybe I could turn this into something larger. So I imagined that the literary agent that I was writing to was actually a Greek muse. And that she was talking to me. And then I started thinking about the short story itself. Mm-hmm. Other genres have incorporated all kinds of other genres. Look at film, for instance. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling Noah about the flood here. Mm-hmm. But if you look at film, in its beginnings, it just had pictures. Yeah. And then they included sound and color and dance and all the other arts. And I was wondering about how would you do that with the short story? Because the short story is becoming a little boring. Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe I can mix other literary genres up into a short story and have a short story that contained a television pilot, a memoir, an environmental manifesto, book reviews, essays, and with a clear through line. And the through line, I decided, should be letters. So there you have it.
Yeah, exactly. Blending all these different literary forms into one book. How much of this is your story? How much of this is your thoughts? How much of this is your own manifesto, if you will?
I think it's mostly personal.
Mm-hmm.
The issues that I address are climate change, basically, women's rights, and of course, in the background there are present day politics. But one of the essays is about vertical farming. Have you had a chance to take a look at the book?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that section on vertical farms, I thought would be a great idea for our city. And for all the reasons that I go into in the novella.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we need to go into it right now, but
well, we've got time. Why do you think vertical farming is needed in your city? Is it because it's such a space saver, that it's environmentally friendly, that it opens up farming to a whole new group of people? Talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, vertical farming was a solution that a writer in France, Despommier, wrote a book, which I came across. And I started imagining farming on the rooftops of buildings. And what this would do, it would reduce the traffic, the trucking from rural areas into urban areas. And that would have a large environmental impact.
Yeah.
And it would also create interesting kinds of new jobs. It just seemed like a real sensible idea.
Yeah.
But the powers to be here in Tulsa kind of let the idea go.
Yeah.
So I was just wanting to remind the public, the reading public, that there are these very essential alternatives to what we're the climate change.
Yeah. I mean, there's also new ways of thinking about things, new ways of envisioning things, new ways of doing things. And governments, of course, will be resistant because all they know is the old way. But I think by putting forth these ideas, you're really helping society. Let's talk a little bit about your life experience. Part of it was as a Marine officer. Tell us about that chapter of your life and how that shaped this book.
Well, I was happily married and to my college sweetheart. When I came home one day and there was an envelope in the mailbox, I was in my second year of law school and I had been drafted. Law graduate students were not exempt. So one thing led to another, and I found that there was a program that would offered through the Navy Department of Navy to second year law students, 7 of them, and I go into what they called officer training school for a few months, and then come back to law school and get my law degree, and then go back into the military as a lawyer. And that was the good news. But there were thousands of applications for this program, and they were only accepting 7.
Right.
And I think I happened to be fluent in Russian back then. And I think that had a lot to do with why I got to be one of the seven. But we were a very radical, angry group of lawyers. And the Marine Corps was the only branch of service that required its lawyers to go through 9 months of infantry training. And so gradually, one of us began just walking out into the fields of Shenandoah Valley and picking wildflowers and putting them in his helmet. And so we all started doing that. It was a protest. And one morning we got a note that said, "See the general." We'd never seen the general. I didn't know what he looked like. And so next thing I know, we're standing in front of the general and he's telling us that we'd been invited to be on the Johnny Carson show.
Wow.
Yeah. So our spokesman, Dennis Gladwell, asked the general if we could have the evening to think about it and talk it over. And he said, sure. He was very agreeable and nice. So the next morning we came back and said, Dennis told him that we wouldn't do anything to bring disgrace upon the Marine Corps. And we refused the invitation. And we all thought that would be the end of that. But basically, it kind of branded us as troublemakers. So they didn't want us in the courtroom. The military command structure, the 1954 Military Justice Act, took discipline away from commanders. They weren't able to just grab some kid by the scruff of his neck and take him out back and shoot him. They had to go through lawyers. They didn't like us. So my general at the 3rd Marine Air Wing would find excuses using my Russian fluency at the time to send me on all these special operations in Southeast Asia. And what was your question?
I was asking about your time in the military and how it shaped the message of this book.
Well, I think when I came back from 5 years of this kind of work, I felt very estranged. They call it PTSD. Right?
Yeah.
I think any kind of extreme experience is alienating, whether it's good or bad.
Yep.
And all my old friends weren't hippies anymore, and they were all young pillars of Tulsa society. And so I don't know. I think that may have had something to do with it because I began doing some writing, not fiction, but journalism. And I set up a publication here in Oklahoma called This Land and wrote some pieces for them. But I never had tried fiction. And fiction is a completely different, takes place in a different part of the brain. And when I think it's done, I'd ask my friends to read it. And I'd wake up the next morning and I think, oh, no, I can't possibly have done that. And it was around then that I learned that if you never want to hear from someone again, ask them to read something you've written.
Exactly. Yeah. You would think it was a monumental task to have them read something, but that's how it goes. Yeah, it's amazing. One of your passions, of course, is immigrants' rights. Talk to us a little bit about your work there as an advocate.
Well, I have been working with some protest leaders here in Oklahoma. Are you familiar with the 50-51 movement?
No, not offhand.
You will be.
Okay.
But I think political parties have become irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trump was successful because he formed a movement.
Right.
He didn't work within the political party. And complete with merchandising, Bibles and golden tennis shoes and T-shirts and baseball caps and all that. So there are a group of people in every state who are beginning to get organized. We call this movement 50-51.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the idea is to set up a movement for left of center thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just getting started. We've been able to organize several protests in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And we're getting bigger in every state. And it's going to be probably another several months before this movement becomes generally known. But there are activists in every state. We're in touch with them. And we're moving this forward. We'll just see what happens.
It's interesting when you talk about left and right. You talked about hippies earlier. I feel that so much has changed in what constitutes left and what constitutes right nowadays. I mean, for example, the hippie movement was all about peace, make love, not war. And it seems like the Democrat Party, which may or may not be the left, which may be why you're forming this 50-51 movement, seems to embrace war more than ever before. Do you see the same types of paradoxes that I do?
Yes.
Tell me about your thoughts on that. I mean, even nuclear energy was despised by the left, and now it's embraced by the left. Because the left thought it was dangerous, they thought it was polluting in the event of an accident, that it couldn't be contained, that the waste of nuclear power plants was unsustainable. So it's an upside down world now on where people stand on left and right issues in many ways, and it's really
Well,
created, like I said, a quandary for a lot of people.
that's a really a good question, Logan.
Thank you.
I think part of an answer to that question would involve thinking more about abstract nouns.
Mhm.
An abstract noun is different than a concrete noun. Take the word America.
Mhm.
America is just a mental construction. And these boundaries that create these countries
Yeah.
Allow for a kind of hierarchical form of government. Whether you call it king or a queen or a president or whatever,
Mhm.
they're hierarchies. And I think one thing we may be seeing right now is a growing distrust of these mental constructions that we call countries.
Mhm.
Boundaries seem to be becoming less, and I'm all in favor of this, frankly.
Mhm. Well, I think if you're going to have true equality, you've got to lift the boundaries. I mean, this one doesn't like this one because of this reason. This one, I mean, even if you look at the border between Mexico and the United States, it's arbitrary. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just somebody decided, okay, you guys are going to be rich, you guys are going to be poor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the Americans did this.
Yeah.
The Israelis did that.
Right.
Well, when in fact it's Trump did this, Netanyahu did that.
Right.
And so it adds a confusion into thinking about these issues.
Yeah.
I
I mean, also when you think about the fact that blue collar working class people relate more to Trump than to Kamala Harris, says something. It means that the message is skewed, that the lines are ill-defined, and what makes somebody on the right or the left has become murky.
There was a really interesting book that you may have read called Democracy in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that book?
Yes.
The Republican Party has been working on this plan for the last 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was to take the working class voter away from the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
They did this through churches, encouraging people to run for minor political offices, city council,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And that, I mean, the Koch brothers are the ones that financed all of this research. And the professors that were designing this plan warned that it was going to take at least 30 years to steal the working class from the Democratic Party.
Mm.
And obviously they've been successful.
Yeah.
But now Trump doesn't need them anymore. He just needed the working class to get elected.
Mm. And
it's obvious through these tariff policies that he no longer cares about small business people or the issues of ordinary Americans.
Mm.
So the times are going to be changing, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. What do you hope readers take away from your book? What do you hope they learn? What do you hope they experience? What do you hope they open their eyes to?
Well, I think people need to be reading more. And I understand that consumers these days, they don't want to read books like The War and Peace. They don't have time, or attention spans have been shortened to the point where a novella the size of the one that I wrote is more practical for our times. And I wanted to redesign what we think of as a short story and make it more appealing, and where it's not about entertainment as much as it is to inform and stimulate one's thinking about things. So that's partly why I thought blending, like you said, was the perfect word, these various literary genres and creating a kind of new literary form. One hope that I had was, I still intend to do this, but I thought, well, hey, maybe a short story could have an internet link where you could send the reader, to, a cartoon or whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me, when I was learning a little bit more about you, I saw that one noir movie that you were making with the hat where you look like
Like a tall, skinny Humphrey Bogart or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you stepped out of the picture,
Yeah.
accepted
Off the
a
movie
soda
screen. Yep.
from a person in the audience.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a fun role
Yeah,
to do. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. I can tell that you enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the short story.
Well, I think you've achieved it. I think you've been very experimental with it, and like I said, you've blended a bunch of different genres, and I think it's effective, and it makes it entertaining, and it makes it easy to read, and thought-provoking simultaneously as well, which is important. War is one of the topics in your book. What are your thoughts on war? I mean, you're a soldier, and so you have skin in the game when it comes to war. It seems like there's a lot of war in the world right now from Ukraine and Russia and the Middle East. Talk to us before we leave you today. We've got a couple of minutes. Let's talk about war in the 21st century.
I'm hoping that war can be redefined. We can actually have a war without killing each other. And war has just been, one way that the males can solve problems.
Mhm.
And I'm hopeful that I'm seeing signs that conventional warfare, as we would use the word now, may be changing. I mean, because we have the capacity to destroy the planet.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening through war. I do with climate change.
Right.
But, there are many ways of competing
Yeah.
besides killing yourself.
Exactly.
In others. But I think you're absolutely right. I mean, a lot of my friends tell me that I've watched too much news.
Yeah, if you watch
I-
a lot of news, you will certainly get a bleak view on the world. That's for sure, because the people in the news industry are there to scare you. But I must say, what's coming in the next era of war is scary because it'll involve a lot of drones, a lot more than we already utilize, weaponized drones, and AI. Can you imagine smart drones that are unleashed on the world to just kill certain groups of people? And
Yes.
that can be done.
Yeah.
The technology is there.
Well, I think war is going to take different forms now. And I agree with everything you said. I just add that misinformation, the way that media has become fragmented.
Yeah.
We don't just have NBC, CBS,
Right.
ABC anymore. Media stars like yourself have a lot of political power.
Yeah.
And people are getting their information from people who have hidden agendas.
Right.
And I think that's a form of welfare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's a horrible loss that we have lost journalism, and journalism is lost. Somebody will turn to me, oh, did you read that? That's it. Read beyond the headline, because the headline's just trying to get your attention, and it's not true. I mean, if you have to say that about what used to be credible news organizations such as the New York Times or the New York Daily News or NBC or ABC, everybody's just trying to get clicks. Everybody's just trying to get eyeballs. Everybody's just trying to get attention, and they will lie to do it. And it's a horrible thing because you've debased one of the checks and balances of our democracy, which is a free press.
Logan, have you had a chance to read Chris Hayes's new book on attention?
I have not yet, no.
I haven't either. but that's on my list.
Okay, we will definitely put it on our reading list. A book that definitely needs to go on all of our viewers' reading list is the one we've been discussing today. It is called Peripety. It is a fearless fusion of truth, rebellion, and literary experimentation, and it is highly recommended. The links are below this interview. Van, thank you so much for joining me here on GBN today.
Thank you, Logan. Hope to see you again one of these days.
Absolutely. Look forward to talking to you as well. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.